Hey guys, it's me, Cupid. I have schizophrenia. Today I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about myself and give some information about me, I guess, some of my own stories. Kind of get a break from all that med information. Um, I know that some people may not be enjoying those videos, whereas some people are really getting some information from them. I guess it just depends on what you're after here. I do want to let you guys know that I am going to be doing more than just schizophrenia videos in the future. Right now I'm doing mainly just schizophrenia videos, but in the future I do want to do more videos about humorous things, maybe funny videos to help uplift people, interviews of people, things like that. I want to try and get this to be more than just about schizophrenia. But I do want everyone to know that I am still going to be doing videos about schizophrenia because I do want to make sure that everybody understands that diagnosis and what it has to offer. All right, so today I am going to be giving you guys a few different things, a few different stories. So let's get started. So in my last episode, honestly, it's the one that I probably am talking about the most because it did just end recently. For the most part, the biggest part of it ended last year, but then there were still little bits that still kept happening until about this year, so about, I think, February or March. And so I'm still kind of I was still dealing with it. I'm out of it now for the most part. But I still have some of the after effects, I guess, of it. And, I'm working my way through that. I'm in therapy, doing all kinds of stuff just to try and help myself. So there were a lot of things that happened in my last episode. It was about 3 years long, a little over 3 years that it lasted. And there was also the little bits beforehand and the little bits after that I don't necessarily count, but that they are what adds up to it and what weans me out of it, I guess. Wean, I don't know if that's the right word for it. But in my last episode, I thought a lot of crazy things were happening. And at one point, I thought that Snapchat was in on it against me. I know that sounds really crazy, but I thought that I was well known to many people in the world. I thought that I was really well known, maybe like famous, and that people were out to get me. People didn't like me, things like that. Or there were people that liked me, but then there were some people that didn't, and it kind of changed after a while that everybody didn't like me. But there was a point in time where I thought that Snapchat was making, I don't know, they were watching me and that they were in on what was happening. And I don't know exactly if it was like one person or multiple people, but I know that there would be things that I would be talking about with my voices, and then suddenly there would be a filter that was exactly what related to what I was talking about. Like there was this photo that I was shown, I don't know, like 2 years before this whole event. I was shown it by this girl that I was talking to, the girl that I thought was the voice following me. And I saw, so the picture got brought up in the conversation again, and we were talking about it, and then suddenly there was a filter. So the picture was a hamburger in the mouth, and it was kind of like a gag, whatever. And so it was a total joke. And we were talking about it, and then suddenly the filter on Snapchat, which it's weird because I hadn't seen that picture in like 2 years, right? So it wasn't like it was a popular thing at the time or anything like that. But then suddenly that day that we were talking about it, it was a filter on Snapchat with a hamburger in your mouth. So I thought that was really odd, and I was like, there were other ones that were like that. Like I was talking to someone, and then suddenly one of the filters looked exactly like them. There was things like that. There was like, I remember talking about an elephant, and then there was an elephant filter. Elephants, actually, if you guys can tell, one of my spirit animals. It's actually the very first spirit animal I had. So there was a lot of weird things that happened, and it made sense to me. And maybe I don't think I was imagining the filters, because I think I still have pictures of those filters, some of them. So I don't think that I was imagining it. It just seemed odd that suddenly those things that I was talking about with the voices in my head were real. And those are some of the things that made me believe that this whole thing was real. I don't know if you guys have any similar experiences where it actually makes it seem more real. Because I know some people say, despite the facts, that schizophrenia is, or delusions, are things that, despite the facts proving you wrong, you still believe it. And that is a delusion. And it seems like there were no facts that were proving me wrong. So I don't know how to even describe that. I know it wasn't real. I know Snapchat's not out to get me. I get that now. I know Snapchat wasn't watching me, or they weren't doing all that stuff. I thought a lot of people were watching me, but they were one of them. But it just seemed odd. I don't know if you guys have any stories. Please leave me a comment down below. I would love to hear what your guys' stories are, if you have any that are similar. So, like I was saying, there was a lot of crazy things that happened at the end of my last episode. There were, oh God, there's so many I can't even list it off. It got really dark. And everything started to feel and look darker. It was just like I was living in a whole dark world. I still kind of like feel like I'm in that darkness a little bit. I'm working my way out of it. I've gotten better. I'm doing a lot better than I was. A lot better. It's amazing the transformation I have made. But I can still somewhat see that darkness, that cloud that was around me. And it's daunting. There were, I don't know, there was a lot of things. I thought that they were trying to rape me, and they were doing crazy things to purposely try to attack me for things that I had done. And so they were trying to get back at me in all kinds of ways. And so they were attacking me in different ways, including that. And they were vicious too. They were very vicious. It was like they would dig at the very person that I was in every way. It made me so insecure about myself, because every little thing that I did was like the wrong thing to do in their minds. And so they picked at every little thing that I did, and they were very vicious about it. And these were people that I knew watching me, not just people that I didn't know, but mainly people that I knew. It was family, friends, things like that. And it was scary, because if these people that I thought I loved, or thought I cared about, or thought cared about me and loved me, could do these things, what could people that are, enemies do? You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy, the things that people would do to you. And I don't know if that makes sense. But I had so many different experiences. It was weird, because it got confusing at the end too, because it was almost like they were trying to make me believe certain things, and then they're like, oh, that wasn't real, sorry, that wasn't true, we were just fucking with you, messing with you. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss. I guess I can. We were just messing with you. And then they, like, oh, but this is what's real, and then they do something else to get me. And it was like they were attacking me physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. And physically, more than just raping me. I don't know how you guys would... I don't like talking about that part very much, but it was a big part of what happened at the end. And there were other things that they were doing that, like, to hurt me physically as well. I don't know. It's really hard to put everything into a perspective for you to understand, because it was so much that it was overloading. It was overwhelming to deal with, because it was so much at once that it was hard to even exist anymore. It was so hard to even exist. I became something different, and I was not able to do anything anymore, because all of these things that happened to me, were happening to me, became my everything at the time. I don't know if that makes sense. If that does make sense, I would love to hear if you guys have similar stories as well. Different things that maybe happened to you that were overwhelming. I don't know if there's a better way to explain it. Maybe you guys have a better way to explain it, because I know that other people out there who have schizophrenia have a better way of explaining it, have been through it, and can understand it. I know there are. But it's like a million different things coming at you at once, and you can't decipher anything anymore because there's so much happening. I don't know if that makes any more sense. It's like a million people trying to talk to you at once. But it's more than just talking. There's physical things happening. They're punching you. Someone else is punching you. Someone else is hitting you and doing things to you at the same time as a million different people talking to you. There's a million different things happening to you. And just try to imagine how you are supposed to analyze that situation when you've got so many different things happening. It's overwhelming. It's hard to, I don't know, it's hard. It's hard in general. So I'm going to leave it at that for today, you guys. I will be talking about the crazy things that happened to me in my last episode a lot more, because that is, again, the most recent thing that has happened to me. And it is also very relevant to schizophrenia. And there's a lot of things that have happened, like I said, so there's more things that I can talk about. So, yes, I do want to say that I was in the hospital at the very end of my last episode, and if you guys have any hospital stories, I'm probably going to be talking about some of my hospital stories, because I've been in the hospital many times. So I will probably be talking about some of my hospital stories at some point in time, but I would love to hear your guys' hospital stories. Maybe it'll give me a little bit more of a perspective on how to describe my hospital stories, or what stories to talk about first. And if you guys have been in there a number of times, I would love to know how many times. I don't even know if I can count mine anymore. It's been so many times. I started going to the hospital when I was a kid. Suicidal, cutting. I did a lot of different things. So it was definitely I had a very difficult life. So, and I know that I'm not the only one out there who's had a difficult life. I know anybody with schizophrenia has a difficult life. It's difficult. But I just, it started young for me, and maybe it did for other people too, which I know there is people out there that it started young for as well. So maybe if you guys have stories from when you were a kid, I would love to hear those as well. I have plenty of stories that I can tell you. I have some interesting stories, actually, I would love to talk about. So I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Stay wonderful, stay beautiful, stay amazing, stay awesome, stay unique, stay you, and above all else, you guys, love yourselves. Peace and love, you guys.